I'm going to try to make this a rather quick tool tip. Working on some belts today. I like to use an oblong belt hole for your buckles. Just because it seems to lay the belt seems to lay a little flatter when it's laying against itself. I make a pretty thick belt. It's almost a quarter of an inch thick. So I use an oblong punch. Looks like that. This is a Craftool number 009, quarter inch. You can look them up on Tandy's website. But you can see I've polished it a bit. Not really polished. You don't need these. Don't need to be super duper sharp. But that paint on the end makes these things a son of a gun to punch through leather and to pull back out. Because what it does is it kind of leaves, and I don't know how well you'll see it on here, it leaves kind of a little ball of paint on the edge. Not to mention that these are not a smooth, the grind is not very smooth there. So I go around, and that's the best you can get that. You're not going to get much better than that. And it's pretty good. But you're not going to get much better than that. You would think for the amount of money that you pay for a tool like that, you'd get a little bit better grind on it. But I couldn't find these anywhere else like this that I liked, that weren't just utter crap. These are actually pretty good tool once you get that paint off them. It's thick. It is really thick. This one I've been working on for a little while. It's starting to come out. I start out with 220 grit. I still have to do this one. I don't use this size very often. So I really, this is mostly for when you're dealing with like a 3/4 inch buckle. But I need to get one that's a little bit bigger, because I do every now and again, I'll do like a tool belt or something where I'm using a 2-inch buckle. So I need something a little bit bigger. But when I go through these and I'm trying to clean them up and such, I will put something hard behind it. And I might make sure I get the right one. I don't want to mess up the number 9. These are 5, 7, and 9. As far as I know, it's the only 3 that there is. I'm going to zoom you in here a little bit. I'll be right back. Get you closer to what I'm doing here. Now, I don't know why Tandy puts this on their craft tools, this stupid paint. It's kind of a, I don't know, it's a really thick, I want to say it's a powder coat, but I don't think it's a powder coat. It's not that hard. But I'm just kind of, I start out, I'm just going around this way with some 220 grit, because you just got to get that out. Actually, I'll start on this one. And when you start out with some 220, it actually goes pretty fast. Don't work any one spot very long. You want to keep it moving, because it's an oblong tool, and you don't want to, get through one spot. And once I get around this the first time here, I'll show you what I mean by it's really a rough cut around there. And you can certainly lock this into a vise if you want to. So you can see on there just how, I hope you can see anyway. My lighting is still kind of screwed. This was kind of a spur of the moment. know if you can see, the black stayed in all the little ridges and stuff there. But some of that's going to come out as we keep working it here. But you always want to try to do this, back it up with something. But you just keep working it down like that. I take it down with 220 and then I'll finish up with 320. I'm not trying to sharpen it because they're plenty sharp enough. Well, maybe this one's not, but they should be plenty sharp enough when you buy them. You gotta get that paint off of there. Once you punch a hole with these, they want to stick in that leather, and you almost can't get them out. Yeah, this one may not be so sharp. So I'll keep after this one. Yeah, that really isn't sharp. Not that I mind that so much. I don't mind sharpening a tool when I buy it. At least that way I know what the edge is going to be like. With the exception of something like a head knife, because those can be kind of tough to sharpen. Well, I've got all three of my Craftool oval punches, about as good as they're going to get without really starting to take off a lot of material. I just wanted to mostly get that paint off of there so that they go through a lot easier. I'm going to set up with my jig and punch some holes in a belt, and I'm going to let you watch. So let me get reset up. This does take time. But you know what? If it's a tool that you use a lot, it's worth taking care of, and it's worth taking that time to make it work better for you. These are something, you know, I hate making belts. I hate making the double layer belts, but I keep getting orders for them. I'm not going to turn away business. So, hand stitching some of these. I've got a 48-inch belt to do. They're time consuming, but people pay for them, so I'm going to keep doing them. Anyway, let's get some holes punched in this belt quick. This is just my, my guide, and I made it. It's nothing fancy, but I can take my biggest one, I think that's my biggest, yeah, the 1/4 inch, and I cut these holes specifically so that that tool will fit in there, and I can just tap it and make a mark on the leather. Now this is the top grain, what do they call it, the skin side? I don't know, I can never keep that stuff straight. This is the side that you're going to see, and when you punch a hole, it's going to go in, it leaves a funnel shape. So I'm going to punch through the skin side on both pieces. So I'm going to punch through the skin side on this one, and when I put the back on it, which is still on its way here, I will punch through the skin side on that as well. So that'll funnel from both sides, and it'll kind of give me an hourglass shape to the belt hole, or to the hole where the tongue goes through on the buckle. And that's just going to work better, and it's going to look better. kind of the way I just do things, I guess. So this is the same shape as the tip of the belt. The holes are right where I need it. It leaves me, I don't know, some of this stuff I just kind of wing. From the, I guess the middle of that hole to the end of the belt is about 4 3/4 inches. I don't know, everybody's kind of got their own thing. Remember, I make belts for bigger guys. This is a 48-inch belt. So it's a pretty stout belt. And yeah, that's where it is. Now, I could only fit, this is a scrap piece off the end of a belt. That's all it is. And that's what I use to make my little jig here. I only could fit 5 holes in it. So I'm going to punch 5. I will generally put 7 in a belt. Some people do 5. I do 7. And this will be 48 to the middle. So it'll be 48 to this hole. So I will have to move the jig. It's not a big deal. It's easy to do. Especially the way I have this set up. So all I do is I stick it through. Make sure everything is lined up. Just give it a tap. And that will leave a bit of a mark. Now, I like a little bit more of a mark. So I'll just, yeah, that'll be better. It is really easy to skew these holes. That's why I made a jig for it. Now if I want to check my holes and get a good idea how deep they are, I can lift it up as long as I'm holding it down. And if you want to keep it held down, put your weight on it. That's why we make these things. So now I'm just going to move it up so I have 2 more holes, line everything up, which is really easy to do this way. So there, using my jig, I'm able to keep those holes centered and relatively straight. They're still an oblong hole. You can't expect perfect every time, but they're pretty straight, and I'm happy with them. Now all I need to do is I can set my punch right in the hole, right in those grooves that I made. And I can punch them. These will fill quickly, so I like to just, as I'm going, just punch my blanks out. That way I don't have to deal with it. There we go. Those drove through real nice, came out nice. I have my holes punched now. And I punch the holes before I die the belt. That way it's easy I can get the die in between in the holes. It's done. I don't have to worry about it. So there you go. Little quick tool tips to clean up your punches. A little jig. All I did was I took and I made my belt like this. I made the holes in this exactly the same way. And then I just made these holes a little bit bigger. I made sure they were centered on the belt. To do that, I just measured from the edge of holes on each side, punched them, made sure they were straight, and trimmed them out with a craft knife. And for that I did use an X-Acto knife just because it's got a nice sharp tip on it with a fresh blade, and I was able to make my blank. Now the other piece of this blank is a wider blank. It's 1 3/4 inches. This is an 1.5 inch belt. So I use an 1 3/4 inch blank to go over it just because I don't have to worry so much about squaring everything up and making sure everything's even. I will lay it together. I will mark my holes through this piece, or I'll use my blank. It doesn't matter. The spacing's all the same. But I'll probably mark them through here, and then I'll flip it over and I'll line everything up and punch them, and we'll be done. Stitch it all up. I already have the other end done. I like to leave enough room on the end to put my mark, my maker's mark, and that's all there is to it. For this slot, I just cut a hole on each end and cut it out like you've seen me do before. For this belt, this is a piece of 8 to 9 ounce. I do not skive this end at all. So it's full thickness, 8 to 9 ounce at the end. Good, strong, sturdy belt. Made for a big guy. When I put my second layer on, it ends just past that hole there. It'll end probably 1 inch back, maybe, 1/2 inch back. And that's where it ends. And then, you know, we got a good, strong, sturdy belt. Nobody has ever complained about one of my belts. And I don't think they ever will. They're a good, strong belt. I wear one myself. I keep having to punch new holes in it, though. I think I've got 3 in it. I've got to punch a new one in it. I better do it tonight. I almost lost my pants today. So, y'all stay safe and God bless. There's your little tool tip on squaring away your punches, your oblong. These are oblong punches. If you have similar punches, these are Craftool, and they've got that paint on them. I hate that paint, but it is what it is, and we just got to deal with it. Get that paint off of there. They work a lot better that way. So we'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.